Hello and welcome to 180 Your Health. I'm Alejandra Crisafulli and I'm here with my really good friend, Brooke Hemingway. And she's not only my friend, but also my health coach. And we just have an incredible conversation to share with you today. And our hope and intention is that within this conversation, you are really getting to hear like those key areas in your life and in your health that you have kind of been hitting a block towards or feeling stuck in. Maybe you've done all of the stuff and just feel like your health is still suffering and you can't figure out why or what's going on or how to change it. And Brooke and I are here to share with you the key core aspects that are going to absolutely 180 your health. So with that, I'd love to share with you that, as I mentioned, I'm Alejandra Crisafulli. I'm actually an award-winning master life coach, and I'm known as the baller coach. And I work with professionals who are basically at their wits' end because they've tried anything and everything to reach a high level of success, but they're just kind of finding themselves in what I call a 360 cycle. You know the cycle very well. It's that like doing the same thing again and again and again, and basically ending up exactly where you started. And I often tell clients, like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to do a whole bunch of work and end up in the same place, which, you know, of course, we call insanity, right? Doing that same thing again and again, but and expecting a different result, but you just end up in that 360 cycle. And knowing this and doing something about it are two totally different things. So what I do that is so different in helping these women who are professionals is that is truly different from anything they've ever done before, is I basically challenge them to reject the traditional self-help models. I know that those models work for a short period of time, but not long lasting. And I know Brooke is so in alignment with this conversation too, because she's also committed to people getting the long lasting results. And I do this through the proven 180 method that I'm going to share just a piece with you today. And then we're going to fully jump into how to 180 your health. So I have coached people now for over 19 years. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been like 2 decades. Wow. But I'm named one of the pioneers of the coaching industry because I got into coaching back when it wasn't even a thing. And getting to pave the way for what the industry is now has been such a gift. But there is a lot out there that isn't addressing the whole person. And after all of these years and all of the women that I've worked with, from top C-suite executives to multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs to women just starting a business, or even just stay-at-home moms that have, I think, one of the hardest jobs, or women who do it both, you know, stay at home, work from home, do it all. It doesn't matter how effective they are or how successful they are. Every single person struggles with their health because they just don't know how to heal all of the aspects of their self. And what I mean by that is what actually ends up happening is that we focus on one thing or the other, like physical health, but then we don't look at and heal the emotional aspect or the spiritual aspect. We tend to fragment things and we don't treat the whole part of us. So you see, there's three parts to us. As you can see here on the PowerPoint, we have body, soul, and spirit. And this is not to be confused with the body, mind, spirit, because I'm sure you hear it like that a lot. But the reason it's body, soul, spirit is because the mind is a part of the soul. And our soul includes every aspect of who we are. It's our mind, yes. It's your will, it's your emotions, it's your behaviors, it's your beliefs, it's your ambitions, it's your personality. Like anything and everything that you can think of when we say like, who am I? Or what makes up who I am? That's part of the soul. And so when I say we don't treat the whole person, we just tend to treat either that body or just the mind, and maybe sometimes the spirit, but we don't truly focus in on that soul aspect of us or the body part of us. And what ends up happening is what I was mentioning, that fragmented way of healing, which really just ends up leading to a temporary, what I call dealing. And there's a huge difference between healing and dealing. And Brooke and I are committed to giving you the information that you need for true healing so that you can make an educated decision on whether or not to take what we're offering here today for you and your entire health so that you can 180. And I found this very true for myself. So what happened for me was that I'd been coaching for quite a while, and I was in a place of, I've got this, like I really, oh, it's embarrassing to admit almost, because I was in a place of like, I think I'm better than anything happening to me in life, right? Like I've done the work, I coach people on this, I've totally helped them, like I'm good. And I honestly had a big ego. I was very egotistical about it. And I was not doing the work that I was coaching my clients on. And I'm just being totally real with you here, because I think a lot of people don't get down to the real. And I want to like bear it all for you and just be very humble in saying like, I was wrong. And I completely showed up like I had it all together. And what ended up happening was a very divine experience where I met God for the first time. And I was brought to my knees through getting sick. So when I say getting sick, I mean, my soul was sick. My body was sick. Like every part of me felt sick. And I ended up in the hospital where I got stuck in a panic attack. Never had experienced this before. And when I say I got stuck, I mean, I literally like could not get out of that attack kind of feeling. And it led to months of severe anxiety. I'm talking like level 10. If we could go higher level, I would say higher level of anxiety and insomnia. And the doctors were like, we don't know what's going on. Like, here's all these tests that we have to take and do to try and figure out what's going on in your body, figure out what's happening so that we can put you on medication. And they finally did figure out a couple of things after many tests, many doctors' visits. And I was doing both holistic doctors and regular, more traditional doctors, because I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I want to figure this out and get better. And they put me on medication. And this medication was for both anxiety and insomnia, and is a medication that I swore I would never be put on medication, because I had helped people get off of medication, and again had that ego of like, oh, you don't need that, I'm going to help you get off of it, and had great success with it. But again, here I was now faced with having to do this. So what ended up happening was, in meeting God at the first time, in that divine moment, is this understanding I hadn't, one, been doing the work I'd been doing. This is why my soul was sick, and this is why it was hitting my body. And so I needed to be humbled in that moment to come back and figure out, like, there is this connection between all three parts of us, my spirit at the core, your spirit at the core, which can heal the soul and the body. But all of these like things that I was doing to heal the body did help. And I had really great results. The anxiety dissipated. I was able to get off of the medication, which was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But through that process, I was healing, like truly healing all three parts: body, soul, spirit. And getting off that medication took a lot of supplements, a lot of visits to the homeopathic doctor, a lot of visits to the regular, doctor. And what we're showing you here is just a physical manifestation of where I was to what ended up happening when I was integrating all three aspects. And even though I was having great success with what was happening, with what I was taking, it was expensive. It was very expensive. And because I would still go see the doctor and she would prescribe more supplements and I would say, okay, and then get on more supplements. And I was spending between $500 to $700 a month on this. So again, you can see the physical manifestation of where I was before to where I am presently today, but it wasn't sustainable. And I needed to figure out a different way to sustain what had been occurring. And through the process, not only did I find the answer to making it more sustainable, but also it enhanced and up-leveled where I was at. So it was like, you could say these images were a place of like this, it was good there, but now it's great, which is incredible. And I just love this quote because it so pertains to not only what we're talking about, but just life as a whole. The body is one integrated system, not a collection of organs divided up by medical specialities. The medicine of the future connects everything. And that's by Mark Hemingway. So I want to introduce you to Brooke, who is, again, just an amazing human being, y'all. Like, I am so grateful that I met this woman. And of course, it was not by accident. It was another divine moment of interaction because she and I are so committed to people's healing that they don't just continue to deal with whatever is happening physically, emotionally, or spiritually. So she really focuses in on the physical aspect of the body. And of course, has such knowledge and wealth of the soul. You're going to see her sharing, but I really focus in on the spiritual and a soul level of healing. And when we met, we were in a mastermind together, and there was a group of women who kept talking about unicorn juice. And I don't know about you, but if you hear a story about someone saying these incredible things about something called unicorn juice and like healing all of these different things from taking the unicorn juice, you listen and you ask, like, what is unicorn juice? Because I want some. All right, so that's exactly what I did. And Brooke and I instantly had like an immediate connection. So I knew that I wanted to ask her about what is this unicorn juice and how can I get some? And so we had an amazing conversation and then found all these other connections and ways that we can help women really, truly 180 their health. And so I'm going to let Brooke take over here because she, y'all, is truly the master in physical healing. So, Brooke.
Thank you so much, my friend. I'm so excited to talk about this. Truly is my passion. And as I was listening to your story, I was kind of laughing when you were talking about the pride and ego part. I had so much pride and so much ego in my background in the health profession. I have 2 degrees, one in kinesiology, which is the study of physical movement and health. And I also have a BSN, and I was an ICU nurse for 10 years. I spent over 20 years in the fitness field as a trainer and as a coach, and I just thought I knew it all. I thought I had all the tools to help people get healthy through nutrition and exercise. And I didn't really focus on the other aspects. I've always been very spiritually connected, but as Alejandra was talking about, it's so much more than just the mechanics of what you eat and how you move. It's also the spirit, soul, and it's also adding in the other things that your body is lacking in. So I have 6 kids, which is insane and amazing. I've been married for 24 years to my sweetheart, who also had quite a bit of ego and pride about health and did not used to be an integrative medicine doctor, but he has since shifted into being an integrative medicine doctor. So together, we love to see people live a healthier, more vibrant life, both emotionally and physically. I'm also a high performance coach and an entrepreneur with multiple 6 and 7-figure businesses. Just like Alejandra, we're successful women. And I was one of those women kind of at my wit's end that she described. And so I have also personally coached with her and have to vouch to just how incredible her coaching is. And that's just a little aside. It has been life-changing for me, having come from a background of doing lots of personal development, self-help type stuff that didn't quite get to the soul and the spirit. Now, I also really truly believe that health is not just a physical thing. Your health affects your spirituality. Your health affects your soul. And before I got the help that I needed, I would describe myself as feeling empty. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the vitality. I didn't feel like I was really connected to my body, my soul, or my spirit. I was just existing. And I think some of you that watch this will relate to that. Like your life isn't bad, you're not terribly unhealthy, but you're kind of just existing. And when we look at the root of health issues, which is what I'm really interested in, just like Alejandra is interested in, let's get to the root of the issue, the soul, the spirit. Let's get deep down in there. I'm interested in getting to the root of the health problem. I believe that we need modern medicine at times. Absolutely. Like Alejandra shared, at one point she needed medication. So I'm never going to be that person that's like, oh, absolutely not. You should be ashamed if you need help, because sometimes we do need those tools. But really, truly, when we get to the root of the struggles we have, whether it's energy, emotional wellness, weight, sleeplessness, whatever it is, we have to look at these 3 factors. You've got to look at your gut. And many of you are starting to hear about gut health. It's been on the cover of Time. There have been over 8,000 published studies on the gut microbiome. It is really the epicenter of health, and it is like your second brain. The second thing we have to look at, especially for women, is hormone balance, starting with insulin. Most of us have some degree of insulin resistance. In fact, 88% of people. And insulin is like your master hormone. It's like the mother hormone that's like watching over, controlling, affecting all the other hormones, from your testosterone to your estrogen, progesterone, thyroid, cortisol, which is that fight or flight stress hormone that Alejandra was very experienced in because she was having panic attacks past a 10. That was the cortisol just going crazy. And you know what's interesting? Insulin and cortisol are like brother and sister, right? They play off of each other. So when we balance our insulin levels, it's like this cool, calm thing that happens. Your hormones get balanced out. The third thing is decreasing the chronic amount of inflammation in the body. Most people don't think they're inflamed because maybe they're not in pain or they don't have a specific injury. And when we think of inflammation, we think, oh, well, that's somebody that like slipped a disc or tore their ACL or, something like that. But inflammation is a silent killer, and it also makes you feel really sluggish. It can give you brain fog. It contributes to autoimmune conditions. So many things stem from too much inflammation. So these are the root factors that I really look at and that I help support people with through supplementation, as well as what you're putting in your mouth, right? It's not just about taking a couple pills. It's about, hey, let's look at our relationship with food. Let's open our pantry. Let's learn what is toxic that we're putting into our body that's destroying the gut microbiome, destroying the hormone balance, and creating inflammation. Just to give you a visual of the transformation for me. So I'm nearly 44 years old. On the left-hand side is me right when I started my transformation. I actually was the same weight as the person on the right. you can see the inflammation, you can see the puffiness, and my body has just changed and transformed. I'm leaner, I'm stronger, I'm healthier. My energy levels are incredible. I used to be sleepless. I couldn't fall asleep at night, couldn't stay asleep at night. Now I sleep like a rock. When my 4-year-old comes in, guess who gets up with her now? My husband. Oh, he's so sad that I sleep so deeply, but I wake up rested. The anxiety and the depression and the postpartum depression that I had struggled with before is so much different. I'm always really honest with people and saying, like, hey, it's not perfect, right? When you work on your health, it's definitely this continuous thing that's always changing. But I went from being somebody that 9 out of 10 days was exhausted and took a nap, was screaming and yelling at my kids because my nerves were shot and my anxiety was high, and seeking sugar and carbs and comfort foods and caffeinated drinks and all these things that we're like, we're just trying to get through the day. I went from 9 out of 10 days of living like that to 9 out of 10 days feeling vibrant, feeling healthy, making good choices, super calm, and just really in my body and connected. So I can't even say like how much of a difference inside out healing has made in my life, and how different it is than the typical band-aid approach that we see. Now, I'm always really quick again to mention that there are other factors. We do need to look at nutrition and food. It's something I'm really passionate about, and also about making it simple, right? We don't need to make things complicated. You don't need to go on a specific diet plan, but I love to educate and help give people a few tips on some simple things they can change. Movement and exercise. Movement truly is medicine. And as you're going on a healing journey and you're trying to improve your health, incorporating movement on a daily basis, even if it's 20 minutes, will absolutely transform your life. In fact, there's been so many different research studies that point to how daily physical movement can be, potentially as effective as an antidepressant. It's really powerful. Sleep quality and quantity. You simply cannot run on empty forever. And I used to think I could. Alejandra is shaking her head there. I know you can't see her right now, but she agrees. Like a lot of times, especially as women, we're like, I can do it all. I can get it all done. I can make the money. I can keep the house clean. I'll just take away some sleep. And as we get older into our 40s, 50s, 60s, you find that you cannot thrive and survive as well without the sleep. But what also happens in your 40s and 50s is typically sleep quality decreases. And guess what? That's a huge function of gut health. And we're going to talk about that. Next is stress, internally and externally. You have to take a look at the kind of stress you're experiencing from the people, the situations, the work you do. And you have to evaluate, is this something that I want to change? Is this something that I'm willing to take steps to decrease stress in? And of course, the fifth thing, emotions and thoughts. A lot of that can be helped, of course, with Alejandra's 180 method. Where are your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings coming from? And also those things affect all these other things, what you're going to eat and put in your mouth, how much you're going to move, how you sleep. It's just amazing how all of these things are connected. I really believe and live by this philosophy that we need to treat our bodies like a temple, not a woodshed. The mind and body work together. Your body needs to be a good support system for the mind and spirit. If you take good care of it, your body can take you wherever you want to go with the power and strength and energy and vitality you will need to get there. That's by Jim Rohn. Now, I am a living, breathing example of this. Alejandra was already successful before she had her health breakdown. I had no success and no businesses. And I was not in a good place of emotional and physical health. And what happened when I added in the unicorn juice and I started addressing gut health is it's like this fog lifted. And I was awake for the first time in literally 20 years. I had ideas, I had energy, I had drive, I had ambition, I had creativity. It was like my soul, honestly, Alejandra, like my soul was waking up and it was like, oh my gosh, there you are. And I started showing up in a different way. I started dreaming. I started thinking about what I would want to do because, first and foremost, emotionally and physically, I was feeling wonderful. And as I felt that way, my body was able to take me to places that created 6 and 7-figure incomes. My entire life transformed from focusing on getting my body and my mind healthy. I would not be where I am today if I had not done this. And I'm always very, very clear about, remember, I was exercising already. I was a trainer. I was teaching people. I was eating my fruits and veggies, but something very big was missing: the mindset work and the supplementation. And once I added those in, it was like, game on, let's go. Let's see what we can do. So it's interesting. My husband has been interviewing for different podcasts and shows and things like that. And he was interviewed for a financial podcast, and the financial podcast host said, well, I'm not really sure how this applies to finances. And my husband said, well, if you're not healthy, if you're not operating at a high level, if you're not feeling good, if you're not taking care of yourself, there is no way you are going to be performing at a high level in your industry. And it's absolutely true. There are top stock exchange brokers and firms that require all of their stockbrokers to be on a health program, to be on a nutrition program, and to be on a sleep schedule. And if they don't, they are required to lower their risk. Why? Because it matters what you do to your body. You cannot escape that in the long term. And I am so passionate, if you can't tell, right? So adding support to your body through supplements, are they needed? This is something that I didn't think was needed. And maybe Alejandra also felt the same way. I thought it was just like snake oil, expensive pee. I made fun of supplementation. And we often make fun of the things that we don't understand. I was ignorant to really all the data and all the science. We do need supplementation. It's been well documented in the research. We have an inconsistent nutritional intake due to lifestyle. From my perspective, leading a busy life with 6 kids, oftentimes I'd reach for the dino nuggets and the leftover mac and cheese on my kids' plate. Basically no nutritional value, right? And if you're living a busy lifestyle, it's hard to get the nutrient intake that you need. We also have documented soil depletion and industrial farming practices. This means less nutrients in our produce. We've lost a lot of our heirloom species, which were nutrient dense, and we have so many toxins in the environment, in the soils, and chronic stress. And these things actually have been shown to deplete the body's stores of minerals and nutrients. We tend to eat more food-like substances rather than real food. Anything in a box with a barcode or in a bag is likely not something that has a high nutritional value. And research shows that over 90% of us have some type of vitamin or mineral deficiency. We really don't tend to eat a probiotic-rich diet either. I am personally not a fan of sauerkraut, kimchi, fermented foods. Some people love that stuff, and kudos to you. But even if you are doing those things, the rest of these things apply to you. It's really kind of crazy. When I started to dig into this and learn about this, and I learned that the majority of our produce sits in a cold room at 34 degrees for 9 to 12 months before it makes it to the supermarket, I realized that my body truly was deficient in nutrients. Just think about it. The apple grows on a tree. The tree has roots that go deep down into the earth and suck those nutrients up and deliver it to the apple. If you're picking that apple 9 to 12 months ago, it's not connected to life. It's not connected to nutrients. It is not connected to anything that's enhancing it. In fact, it's slowly losing that nutrient value. So supplements are essential in our modern day, and there's so much to pick from. It can be really, really confusing. I believe that pictures are more powerful than words sometimes. And so I wanted to show a couple other examples of some people that I personally know in my life. In the upper left-hand corner, we're looking at somebody with PCOS. On the upper right-hand corner, we're looking at my friend Christy, who had Hashimoto's, depression, lots of other health issues. The lower right-hand corner, my friend Phyllis, who was menopausal, having night sweats, hot flashes, unexplained anxiety. She is one of the happiest people in the world. And she was like, why am I having anxiety in my 50s? And she just couldn't figure it out. It was a gut health thing and a hormone thing. And then my friend Chanel on the lower left-hand corner, she's also a nurse, who had always been fit and always been active, but without working on her gut inflammation and blood sugar balance, she wasn't able to trim down and lean down. So really incredible just to see the transformations from focusing on those three root factors. I also believe that simplification is absolutely key to sustainability. Like Alejandra said, you can go out absolutely and get like the full suite of 500 to 700 to $1,000 of custom, supplementation. And I definitely don't knock that because it works, but it's not very sustainable. I have many friends that have come to me that have been on 16, 17, 18 supplements, and it feels, they feel pretty good. But when they travel, what does that look like? Right? It's like they need a suitcase just for their supplements. And if they forget any one of them or some of them, they're totally thrown off. I have also learned in over 20 years of coaching people in health and fitness that if it is not simple, people will not stick to it. Right? It's like, if I got to spend that much money and it is not totally rocking my world and it's not something that I can sustain, I'm not going to do it. And I want to be very clear. I know, like Alejandra, I am not somebody that's here for the short term. I am here for the long term. I want to see people change their health for life, not just go on a diet program and lose a couple pounds for 2 or 3 months and then go right back to where they were or beyond. I have personally been using this system for 6 years. I'm almost 44. I'm fitter, healthier, happier. I rest. My body feels good. Everything in me has changed so much. And the length of time has proven that it continues to work. It's been sustainable. I've taken it through pregnancies, after pregnancies, when I travel. And by the way, here is the unicorn juice. It is very yummy, very delicious. We also have some capsules that you see there in the pictures. One thing that I think is really important when you're looking at supplementation, which, by the way, this comes in a little stick packet, as you can see there in the picture. So I always have some in my purse. If I'm traveling, I throw a couple sticks in there. I have a couple different capsules that I take with me. And the other thing that was really important to me about supplementation is I didn't want to take something that had synthetics. I didn't want synthetic vitamins. I didn't want synthetic sweeteners like sucralose or Splenda. I didn't want, for some of our products that have protein, for example, I didn't want to see any soy protein in there. I wanted to see clean protein. I wanted this to be something that I could feel comfortable giving to my children as well. And I have given it to my children and seen some really great results with them. So it's clean, it's non-GMO. We don't use artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. You can feel good about putting this in your body. Now, where do you even start? What would you even start with? There's a lot of different options of things that you can start with. And it really just depends on what you're experiencing, right? We all are different. Maybe you related to my story, maybe you didn't. Maybe you related to Alejandra's, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're like, I've got IBS, you didn't talk about that. I've got something else going on. And all of this is customizable to your needs. In fact, why don't you just talk a little bit about these symptoms, Alejandra?
Yeah. Craving sugar or carbs. I think this was such a hard part for me of being able to like clean up my diet, but also then getting on the supplements helped so greatly with that. And yeah, now it's like not even that we can go out to dinner and I don't even need dessert. Like I don't want it. It's not something I need or want because I feel so good. Are you anxious and sad? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was where I was totally at. More the anxious than the sad part, but I look and support so many women and friends that depression is such a key part of what's going on in their life. Don't sleep well. Yep, that one, of course, was where I was at. Um, and by the way, like now, just this morning, I woke up going like, how sleep be actually getting, I feel so good. Yeah, yeah, it's just your skin is a wreck. This was also, and not so much when I was a teenager. I was like, wait, why am I getting acne as an adult now? Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? And now my skin is nice and clear. Your stomach is always in knots and you have digestive issues. Gas was a huge thing for me. Yes, I'm just going to boldly share that. It was a big thing. Having that bloating all the time too was hard to like, what am I eating? What am I doing that's not like working here? You can't focus and have a foggy brain. Yep, that was also happening too. I would hit about like 3 o'clock and like, boom, totally just like hit the wall. And I couldn't take a nap. Like I had to keep going. I had to keep push. So I was pushing myself through it and trying to convince myself. Like one of the self-helpy things is like, well, just affirm your way through it. This does not work. Okay. That's part of that whole 360 cycle I was talking about. You struggle to lose weight. I think my before and after pictures show this. I always thought I was going to be stuck at that weight for my before picture. And not like I was, severely overweight, but I was definitely carrying too much and could not get it off, no matter how much exercise, how many diets. And it'll be 3 years in July since I started this whole journey, and it's stayed off. It's even better now. Struggle to keep healthy weight on. Yeah. I don't know how many friends I have who are like, I'm skinny fat. And it's like, yeah, that happens too. You can be really skinny, but be fat still at the same time, or not have that muscle, that good. And maybe you can describe better what that healthy weight is than I can, but that's how I see it. Itchy, are you achy and in pain? Yeah, I actually had fibromyalgia, and had gotten it somewhat under control with diet or with foods, but it was still something that I would, it would flare up every now and then. That's totally gone too now. You keep needing more and more meds to manage your health. I mean, we've kind of already addressed this, and I think that that is such a key part of our society right now, is like, well, let's just put you on some medication, you'll feel better. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue, and I talk a lot about that as well. Of course, we need those things sometimes, but other times, there are a lot of natural things that we can do. We've talked as well about, the vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So many people have those, or people that have immune challenges. They catch every single cold that comes around. They're always calling in for sick days. Your labs are off for no apparent reason. This describes you, Alejandra, right? Everything looked fine. There was nothing off. That's the worst thing when you go into your provider and they're like, everything's good. And the code for that is it's all in your mind. And it's like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me, right? Things really can be off. And sometimes they haven't really searched deep enough, to be honest. You have autoimmune conditions like fibromyalgia or Hashimoto's or lupus or psoriatic arthritis, so many different autoimmune conditions, you guys, and they are on the rise, which is so alarming. You have food sensitivities. I've had so many clients that are like, oh, I can't do dairy. I'm lactose intolerant. They get their gut right. And guess what? They can have dairy, right? Or they're no longer, one of my good friends had sensitivity to peanuts. She's no longer sensitive to peanuts. Just really crazy, amazing things that when you heal your gut start to change. You have no energy to stay active or struggle to recover or build muscle. So, how many of these do you think you struggle with, right? Going back, there's like so many. I would say I had about 10 of them at least 10 of them, maybe even more, that getting to the root of the health issue fixed for me. When you get to the root of it all, you're able to achieve your best health. And like Alejandra started out talking about, do a 180, because so many people pick a program or a diet or something that they've invested thousands of dollars in. Maybe it's like a custom gym membership or a $3,000 piece of equipment or food delivered to their house. And they literally do a 360 because they've never gotten to the root. And the root includes working on your mind and your soul, right? Supplementing and adding in the things that your body is depleted in. It's adding that nourishing and that nutrients, moving your body. That's very important. And then, of course, getting the rest that you need. When you start to combine those things together, you become a whole new person. I also believe that health is the greatest of human blessings. If someone wishes for good health, one must first ask oneself if he is ready to do away with the reasons for his illness. Only then is it possible to help him. It's really, really important to acknowledge and to take accountability without being hard on yourself or shaming yourself. But there comes a moment, almost like Alejandro's like moment of truth a couple of years ago, where it's like, I have to really look at where I am and how have I contributed to this circumstance? And am I ready and willing to take a step? Do I want to change the result that I have in my life? Do I want to feel good in my body? Do I want to feel good in my mind? And you're never past the point where you can't change those things. Taking a few simple steps, adding supplementation in that addresses the right thing will do that for you. So I want to give you a challenge to scan this code. This is going to take you to a beautiful page that Alejandra and I have where we talk in more detail about some of the specifics of some of these supplements. And there's also a questionnaire that you can fill out on this website. If you fill out the questionnaire and submit it, you will be contacted within 24 to 48 hours with a custom recommendation. We want to be able to help you find the thing that's right for you, whether it's weight or digestion or autoimmune or energy or mood struggles. So we want to get connected to you here. Take a picture of it, screenshot it, and that will lead you to the site. I'm going to turn the time over to Alejandra to wrap us up here. So glad to be with you today and to be able to share this incredible life-changing information with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brooke. Appreciate you. Love you. She and I, again, are just completely committed to people actually having transformation that lasts. And, I feel like I am in such a place of commitment of wanting to share with more women about the amazingness of these products. And I hope that you all get our heart and know that we're not just trying to sell you something else. That's the last thing you need. This comes from a place of experience and love. And those are the two things that I am the most committed to for you as well. And I think one of the biggest things, Brooke, that I want to just share too, is that when you were talking about the importance of sleep and the importance of our systems being calm. And I remember people talking about this, and I know this, and it just really, if I'm being completely blatantly honest here, it would piss me off. Because I'm like, I know, but I can't. I know I need to sleep better, but I'm not able to. And how do I get there? And this is the how. This is truly the how. So if you are also finding yourself in that place, okay, good. Let us at least support you by you filling out that questionnaire so that we can walk through what's going to work for you and be your how. So thank you so much. Appreciate you being with us, taking this time. We know your time is valuable. So get in action, because the only way to make change is through action. Until next time, see you soon.
Thank you, guys.